Hi. So today we're going to talk about challenging behaviour, and I guess the textbook definition of challenging behaviour is that it's actions that cause harm or distress to individuals or those around them, impacting on the quality of life of everybody involved. And Alexis, perhaps you could give some examples of a few days of one of your admissions.
How about just two? Because there's quite a lot of challenging behaviour going on here, and it would be great if listeners could think about what I might have been trying to communicate. So in the morning, I grabbed a staff member's fob and tried to exit the unit. Later on, I kicked the airlock door and managed to exit the unit. Later still, I forcibly barged into several staff a number of times to try and exit the unit. On the same day, I attempted to physically push past staff to exit the unit. Still on the same day, I attempted to grab a staff nurse's keys. Then I think I went to bed. The following day, I kicked my way through the airlock door and was escorted back from the community by police. Later on, I attempted again to leave the unit. Later still, I attempted to push through the door to exit the unit. Later still, I lunged towards the door after becoming verbally abusive towards a nurse regarding medication and started kicking the doors. Now listen guys, just from this list you might think that I'm not very good at escaping, but listen, this was really just preparation for the great escape that you can read about in my book Unbroken, in which I successfully escaped to Africa. Kathy, sorry I digress.
I think what's really striking in that list is how clearly you were communicating that you did not want to be where you were and you wanted to go somewhere else. And yet, if you only think of that as behaviour, if you negate to notice the communicative intent, which is kind of what's written in that report, it looks like you're just doing something culturally abnormal, which
Yeah,
is distressing for others.
and I guess the whole meaning behind the word challenging behavior, it becomes meaningless, right? The term just becomes a bit of a joke if we're not actually thinking about what the person's internal experience is, if we just focus on what's outside.
Well, it becomes such a broad term and it can become like a diagnosis, can't it? It sticks with people, but it doesn't actually have any meaning. It doesn't actually tell us anything about what people are experiencing, what they're trying to communicate, what their distress is. It only tells us like the smallest portion of all of that information.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess for staff, a key takeaway?
I guess to be aware of the problems with the definition, with the wording, but also to be thinking about how challenging behaviour doesn't belong to an individual. It happens in relationships. And so to be thinking more about focusing more on the relationship than behaviour.
And your lights have turned off, so we're better in there. Thanks, everybody.